Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Busy, busy.
The city of New York, Boricua from the Bronx.
Gotcha. Check this out. You ready for this? Watch this. Watch this.
Oh my God, I love it. Me too. I wish I had it on.
I
Yeah. Talking
I put it
about
right there. I got the shirt from Chris and I put
I
it up
love
back there.
you guys. She
I
still
don't.
wears
Oh yeah. And this was her idea, by the way. She was like, "Honey, put the shirt." I
it.
was like, I don't think I could wear that shirt. You know,
Listen, the
I don't.
rating would have been much higher if you wore it.
Yeah. It would have to be a much bigger shirt than what she got.
Yeah, yeah. You guys are funny. I'm glad you guys still have it and she wears it.
And look at the other one, the one I'm actually wearing.
Everything hurts.
Yep. Yep.
Same. Ditto,
That's
me.
appropriate. My son bought me this because it's all I'm ever talking about. My ankle hurts, my knee hurts, my neck hurts, my back hurts. Everything hurts.
Too, man, and I'm too young. I'm too young, and I have got my back also. It's too many classes, like 10 classes a week. It's hard on my body. Plus, I
I
go to
was
the
I was gonna ask you about that. Like, are you feeling it? It sounds like you are. The
like the
teaching
effects.
and yeah.
Yeah, I am. I take a lot of vitamins. Every day I take vitamin D for my bones, and I take something specific. It's called Osteoflex. It has like glucosamine
Mhm.
inside, and I had really achy knees like 2 years ago, and I started taking this every single day, and it's really helped me with my joints, my bones. Um,
They should give you a sponsorship.
and my I know I'm just running out actually. I need a new bottle. But my back, I've had problems with my whole life since I was a young girl because I have scoliosis. So I used
Oh
to go to
wow.
physical therapy like 4 times a week. And
Wow.
now I don't go at all. But I need
Wow.
to start going again.
I had no idea. Is
Mm,
that I mean,
mild.
is it tilting to the side or is it tilting inward? I forget because there's
So like there's a curve. There's a
okay.
curve in
So it's
my
a
spine.
slight okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe mine curves to the left. But it's minor, but still it causes a lot of pain, you know. I sleep like a certain way. I have to sleep sideways with like a pillow in between my legs. I try to, that's what my chiropractor tells me to do, but I have a lot of pain. Like I can't stand sometimes if it's weird because I can dance, but if you make me stand or walk or hike, I start to have a lot of pain. So,
Wow.
or
I
carrying.
had no idea. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever heard that from you before.
Yeah,
Wow.
nobody, I don't tell anyone.
Wow. I mean, you're okay with me posting that?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Okay, I
I'm
gotta
telling
ask
you,
permission.
I don't just sit like put it out there like that is what I'm
All right.
saying. You know, unless somebody asks. Like a lot of people ask me because they see I teach so much. They ask me like if I take vitamins
Oh.
or what do I do to like, I stretch, I go to the gym, I lift weights because it's important to, I'm doing so much cardio. It's important to like,
Hmm.
grow the muscle and that way it can support me when I'm doing all that cardio, because it's
Yeah.
intense.
I've noticed you started lifting and posting more lifting pictures and
I
stuff. You gotta have
started
that balance.
exactly,
Um,
exactly. I started like 6 months ago, trying to go like 3 to 4 times a week. But it's hard when I travel. Sometimes there's no gym, um, and I can't. But I try to do as much as I can when I'm here. I always go 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah.
oh, cool. Good, good. Now, here's something we neglected to do, which I don't think is necessary, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? We just started talking. This is
All
a
right.
lady. All right, guys.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Giovanna. I am 24 years old. I am a Zumba presenter. I guess you can call me that now. I travel the
Mhm.
world and I teach
No
Zumba classes.
quotes. No quotes. The Zumba presenter.
I'm just a regular Zumba instructor. I just am lucky enough to be able to travel around the world and do it and teach classes in different countries. And I do it. It's my full-time job. I um I also own my own business, small business, where I hold virtual fitness classes online. And yeah, that's what I do for a living.
Also, fellow dog lover.
Oh
Fellow
yeah.
dog lover. We met
I
at
just
24.
my new tattoo.
I Go ahead and if you're comfortable showing it, please.
Is
Um,
it, see
is it
if I
new,
can,
like as in like very new? Ooh.
yes, it's hazel.
Oh, oh my God.
I
Oh my
just
God.
had it done 3 days ago.
Oh my,
So
and I have not seen it until this moment. Wow. Oh my
yeah, I
God, that's
still
awesome.
you I remember, what did you guys got me a card or something, right? For
Christine made you she got this
I don't remember
I
because
don't
I
remember.
have so
It's
many.
like a frame type of thing that she had
So
made and
I have a little corner inside with all of the frames because a couple of people bought me frames, but I can't remember who
oh,
got me which
right,
one.
right, right,
But I
right.
know
Fair
I
enough.
have it. I put everything together in one
Oh,
corner.
that's sweet. That's a sweet tribute right there. Wow. That's a tattoo that's meaningful, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
I
I
was talking with
figured
my kid about that. Get
I
a
figured
real one that
a lot of
means
a lot of people, they get like lions and like because they're Leos, or yeah, like, so because some people were like, it's kind of weird to get your dog's face tattooed on you, like, do you really want to do that? But I was like, you have a lion on you because you're a Leo, so
uh,
why would it be weird if I got my dog that was like my literal child, and actually the truth is, I have a tattoo on the outside. I really wanted to fill in the inside because it was blank. And I didn't like how whenever I lifted my arms, it was like a line, like it just
uh,
cut, like the tattoo ends and then there was a blank space. So I wanted to fill it for a long time. Like I did this, the one on the outside, I have like a dragon. I did it 4 years ago. So since then I've been wanting to fill it. But I didn't know what to fill it with. And when Hazel passed, I was thinking, to tattoo her on my body, but I wasn't sure because people were like, why would you do that? Why would you get your dog and get something else? Or so I waited like a year and a half to see how I felt, and then actually 3 days ago, I just decided to do it.
it can't be more meaningful than that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's something that your dog will be with you forever,
Yeah.
forever.
It's
There's
something
not
in
a day you'll regret that tattoo. You know what I mean? Like I
just
wouldn't even.
art. I don't know. I like my other tattoos don't really have meaning. I just love art and I
Hmm.
liked it and I tattooed it. And I never regretted it. I got my first tattoo when I was 16 and
Wow.
I never I'm 24 now. I never regretted any of them.
Well, you'll
I mean, at
definitely
least
won't
not
regret
yet.
the dog. Yeah, I was gonna. I kept it to myself. I was like, holler at me at 40. But you'll never regret the dog. That's your dog. You know. Nah.
No, for sure.
So it's funny. Like you've come a long way. I mean, even from the first time I met you. I don't know if you know this, but the first time I took your class was in 24, right?
Yeah.
24-hour fitness.
Kew
I
Gardens, of course,
I
in the little basement.
I believe you were subbing. I don't know if you had taken over, if you were subbing, but I was passing by and I see this cute petite lady on stage and I'm like, oh, I gotta go in there, right? So I went in and the cute petite thing will bring you in, but it doesn't keep you in, right?
Right.
That doesn't keep you in the class. But I enjoyed your class, so I stayed and I had fun, and that's kind of like when I became exposed to you. And since then, you've gone on to, I mean, the first thing I noticed with you was that you were doing this stuff online on your own, entrepreneur style, right?
Yeah.
Then the rising presenter, then the fitness variation, and now a proper presenter with your whole segment. You want to talk about, oh, wait a minute. You also taught in a really huge group. And I believe it was ZinCon, right? Was it
I
in
did.
ZinCon or one of the academies or something where you were
Yeah. I
live and
did.
talk about that whole
Yeah.
thing? Like,
I'll tell you first of all, going back to 24-hour because it's a funny story. Well, first of all, I got licensed to teach when I was 16. I got licensed to teach Zumba when I was 16 years old, and I had to do with my father's signature because they don't.
wow.
You need to be 18 technically to do it without parental consent. So I got licensed at Vibe Studio in Bayside, and I got licensed the day after my 16th birthday because I took my first Zumba class when I was 15. I had just turned 15, and I really wanted to get licensed and teach right away. I had been I've been dancing my whole life since I was 2 years old. So, you know, I started taking a class. I started going to the gym. This is how I first ever was introduced to Zumba. I was going to Lucille Roberts at 15 years old on Bell Boulevard. It was an all women's gym. It's now closed down. And I was a little heavier at that age, and because I used to work at my father's bakery and eat a lot of pastries. So I was like maybe 15 pounds heavier than I am now. So I used to go to the gym to work out and do cardio, you know, use a little bit of the machines. And when I used to work out, the way the gym was set up was there were 2 levels. And on the first level was where there was a large space where all the group fitness classes would happen. And upstairs were all of the machines. And they were like, how can I explain? Like when you looked over, you could see the class under you. So it was like around the way it was set up. There was like a hole in the floor, you know, it wasn't so I would work out and exactly. And every week I was like, every time I would come, I was like watching the classes under while I was working out. And I didn't know what Zumba was, had no idea. So a few days I'm seeing, I don't know if you know Nicole. Do you know Nicole Sakirka? She is.
Yes, you did a class with her.
Yes.
You did a class with her at 24. You guys did a class together. I remember.
She was my first Zumba instructor ever.
Oh, wow.
She was teaching there, and I was like watching her class sometimes, and I was like, what is that? Because I was at the time a freshman in high school, and I had just auditioned for Frank Sinatra High School of the Arts in Long Island City. And, you know, thousands of people auditioned for that to get in, and they choose 25 students, and I had gotten in. So I was being professionally trained in ballet and modern dance 3 hours a day. So I was really into more strict dance, you know, more
real dancer.
You know, yeah. Ballet, modern, you know, point. So I was looking at the class and I was like, what the heck is that? You know, I was like, that's not dance. You know, they were like dancing and jumping jacks with the dance, and I didn't understand it, but I liked the music, and I was so shocked that after every single song, they would stop and clap and cheer like crazy for her. I was like, what is that? So one day I decided to go take class, and I fell in love, literally. And of course I was like the most coordinated one in the class, so that also kind of helped too. So it made me want to like go back. And I really like the music. I was never exposed to Latin music, you know. Back then Spanish music wasn't a thing. Now, like, where now you turn on the radio and Spanish music is on 97.1 that is supposed to be playing rap, not, you know, not Latin
Bad
music.
Bunny.
Exactly. You're hearing Bad Bunny on that 97.1 or 92.3. Those were like only pop. You only hear like pop or hip hop or just really American music, you know? Now Bad Bunny's on there. So back then it wasn't like that. So I was never really exposed to Latin music or like salsa, bachata, merengue, all of that. So it was something totally new for me. And most importantly, it was fun. I had a really bad, you know, experiences at in high school because, you know,
it was work.
I was always the most flexible one. I couldn't lift my leg above my head like the other girls all could. You know, maybe I wasn't the best one in the class, so it was tough and it was very competitive. And Zumba is not like that. Like, there's no it's you and the students. There's no competition between anyone, you know? It's just fun. Everybody is there to like release stress, have a good time, dance, scream, have fun, you know? So I gave up I was working at a dance studio at that time, and I continued to work there for like 2 or 3 more years. I was teaching young kids from ages 3 to 12.
I remember seeing the clips. That was very cute, by the way.
And I loved it. I would totally do it now, but actually the studio closed down due to the pandemic. So, but I let that job go before that because I wanted to have more time for like Zumba and stuff, and also I was in college. So anyway, I started taking the classes regularly. Then Nicole left Lucille Roberts. She got a job somewhere else, and I followed her there. And I started taking I went to she started working at a studio, and over there they were more like dedicated to Zumba. So there were more instructors. I started taking more instructors classes. I'm not sure if you know one instructor. Her name is Ciara. She used to own a studio named Rhythms in was in Belrose. So then I was taking classes there for like a year, and finally, while I was taking classes there, you know, Nicole convinced me. She's like, you need to go get licensed. So I found a training, and I saw I couldn't get licensed until I was 16, so I found a training the day after my birthday, November 23rd.
Wow.
And I went the day after my birthday, got licensed. And I started teaching right after that. So here's the funny story. I started teaching at studios right after that because no gym would take you unless you were 18, right? You have to be 18 in order to work on the books and stuff. So I started like working at like these little studios and teaching classes. In Floral Park, I was teaching at one studio, and also for this studio that I told you, Rhythms. And I started teaching Zumba kids there. The owner, she asked me, she's like, would you be interested in teaching Zumba kids? Because I wasn't really fully experienced and ready to start teaching, you know, adults. So she would let me sub here and there to teach adults, but I started teaching Zumba kids first regularly, which was really helpful, because, you know, it was like I was able to do that first and prepare,
Right.
you know,
Own your craft.
Exactly. So I was friends with a girl, one girl. She came to my class one day in Floral Park. I was teaching at this other studio, and she worked for 24-hour fitness. And she came to my class and she took it, and she was like, wow, you're great. You don't, where do you work? And I was like, it's hard for me to get a job because I don't have too much experience, and I'm not old enough to get a job at the gym. And she was like, listen, let me get you in an audition for 24-hour fitness. She was like, I work for 24-hour, and I know the manager at the time. It was Ali.
I know who you're talking about, with purple hair. Yeah, she was cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So actually at the time, I didn't know that I couldn't get a job there until I was 18. I wasn't aware yet. So my friend was like, let me get you let me talk to Ali. I think there's an audition coming up. Let's see if you can get in. So I was like, perfect. So she sets it up, and I drove all the way to like Patchogue. Is that how it's pronounced? Very far.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, very far, to a 24-hour fitness there, and I auditioned, and I was so confident. And the same week at that point I was 17. They contacted me, and they were like, you're hired. You made it. You passed the audition. I was so happy. I was in college at the time. I was screaming. I remember when they called, I was like screaming. So she was like to me on the phone, Ali was like to me, so let me just get all of your information right now so I can enter it in the system. And you know, we can start doing all the paperwork and stuff so you can get paid. And she's like, what's your date of birth?
Gotcha.
11/22/1998. And she was like, what? You're 17? She was like, we can't hire you right now. And I was so sad. I was so upset. So yeah, that's a very funny story. I had to wait. And then when I turned 18, I contacted her, and she was like, you're in, we'll do all the paperwork now. I was able to finish everything up. And then literally the day after she did my new hire paperwork and everything, and I was in the system, I picked up that class at 24-hour, was subbing for somebody, the one that you're talking about.
Okay.
I think it was, I want to say it was a Monday. And I was picking up classes like crazy. I wanted to teach so badly. I was going to Jamaica, to Long Island. I was going everywhere just because I wanted to teach. And she gave me my first permanent class in Little Neck 24-hour fitness. And it was like a weekday morning. I don't remember. It was like 9 a.m. or something on a weekday. So that's how I started teaching, and that's how I got my first class. And then after that, I decided to audition for New York Sports Club right after, and I got in. And yeah, from there, back then, I had so much energy. Not that I don't now, but I wanted to teach.
It's nothing like when you're new. When you're brand new, you want to go everywhere. You want to try everybody. You want to, you know, I know I can relate because I did the same exact thing when I
I
started
didn't
teaching.
mind doing 4 classes a day. I really didn't mind. And I was like, wow, I get to do cardio and get paid? What the, I was,
Yep,
and now
yep.
I'm like, no more cardio. No, I'm kidding.
I need to lift some iron. That's
Right,
funny because
right.
that's exactly the same way I felt. I used to go to Brooklyn. I used to teach in Queens. I went to the Bronx. I went
Now I
everywhere to teach every class that I can, I wanted to try everyone, and not everybody vibed with me,
no,
you
me
know,
neither. When
you
I
know,
went to Jamaica 24-hour,
they were
they're like,
tough. Jamaica was a tough group to win
like,
over,
who is
you
this little white
know.
girl? Who
They,
is she? And she's gonna teach me? I was like, I walked in there, I was like, hi guys.
They
My
were
name's
they were they were a fun, tough group because when I walked in, one of the girls came up to me and she looked at me up and down. She went, "What are you teaching?" And I said, "Strength, hit, and Zumba." And the girl looks at me up and down. She's like, and she turned and walked back and
I
left.
taught once there
Left.
and I didn't go back because I was a little scared. I
I
was a little,
I I wanted to show myself that I can get them, and I did, including the one who left. She
yeah,
stayed after because after she left, she walked out. Um,
persistent.
but the other people that were there told her, "Yo, that guy's dope." And then she gave me a chance, and then afterwards she came to me and she was like, "You're all right."
Yeah, they're a tough bunch over there, definitely. So,
Yeah. So from then you've actually like you've moved on to like proper,
yeah.
not, well, I don't want to say proper Zoom, but for the Zumba company
So
directly.
what happened from there was I started teaching a lot. I was teaching every week. I stopped working. I was working for my dad at his bakery, and I actually was able to pick up so many classes that I could stop working there. I had been working there since I was like 14. My first job. Nobody heard that.
You were just there, happened to be standing around, that's
Right.
all.
I wasn't getting paid. I
Yeah.
was just helping out. So I was able to pick up enough classes that I could stop working there. And of course, the money is way better at teaching classes because you get paid way more. You get paid more than minimum wage, teaching a Zumba class because you're doing a lot more work.
Hmm.
There's a lot more work that goes into doing a class. You got to prepare the class, learn the choreography, you create the choreography, learn the music, practice it, and then bring it to your class. So that's the reason I believe, we get paid more than minimum wage, thankfully. So from there, I decided, I wasn't like a Zumba fanatic yet. It was really only just a hobby. I was only doing it because it was good money. I liked it. And I wanted to work out. That was the main reason. I was really looking at it as a way like, okay, I don't have to go and run on the treadmill. I can go have fun, dance, and get paid. And I could skip that hour of treadmill. So after that, I started to like learn like what jam sessions are. I don't know, somebody had invited me like to a jam session, and that's really when I started becoming exposed to the Zumba world because I didn't know what a jam session was. Do you know what a jam session is?
Yes. Um,
Or-
Most people may not, so you might want to.
Right. Yeah. So what it is it's an instructor who has like an additional license called a Zumba jammer, and they that gives them the power to be able to teach choreography to other Zin members or Zumba instructors, licensed instructors. So they'll hold sessions in their area like once a month or twice a month, and they'll teach 4 to 5 choreographies with different rhythms: salsa, merengue, bachata, cumbia, whatever, reggaeton, and they will create these choreos, teach you how to cue them, and how to teach them properly. And you go to this session, it's 3 hours long, and the jammer will teach you all of that. And by the time you walk out of there, guaranteed the next day you can go into your class and teach all 5 of those songs if you like them. So it was really cool because at that point I was not creating choreographies, not really. because I'm not Spanish. I didn't know what salsa was, merengue, but I couldn't create any of that stuff, or reggaeton. You know, I could create a ballet choreography for you, or a jazz choreography, but not a Zumba choreography, definitely not, you know. So I started taking these jam sessions all the time, and you know, I started to learn more about Zumba. I started to realize how big it was, how many countries it was in, and then I learned about convention, and I decided, you know, to go to convention. So I was like going through a breakup during that. This was 2019. The year before COVID was 2019, correct?
Yes.
So I was going through a really bad breakup with my ex-boyfriend, and I also wanted to take a trip and get away. And my friend Natalie was like, I'm off that week, let's go. Still, I didn't know too much about Zumba. Like, I didn't really know anything. I didn't even know what I was gonna go to do there. I was just, it's a bunch of Zumba classes. I'm gonna go and have a good time, and I'm gonna get away. There's a pool. So vacation and dance sounds great. So we decided to go, and I remember the first thing that I noticed was waiting online to register, and there were two separate lines. There was a line for the all Zumba instructors, Zin members, and there was a line for presenters. And I was looking at everyone on that line, and I had already like done a little bit of my research, so I knew like Mauricio Camargo. That year was rising presenter with I don't know if you know Alina from Romania. No, ring a bell? No. So you know the rising presenter program that I did.
Yes. I
So
know the program.
So she did the same thing, and she was a finalist that year. And I knew of her also. I knew of a few instructors like that were a little, you know, bigger, and I had seen them on that line. And I remember, you know, looking at that line, and I was like, I want to be there one day, man. I really want to be there. And I remember saying those words to Natalie, like she will repeat that to you. And I was like, one day I'm gonna be on that line, and not this one. So anyway, we went to convention. That is really when my Zumba career took off, because I was exposed to a next rising presenter. I finally learned what that was. I was able to go to the session. Alina did win that year. So I was able to see the competition and everything, and I really got to know more about Zumba and what it really was, and I realized how big it is. So from there, I started becoming more involved, and I was like, next year I'm going to apply for rising presenter. So here comes, I go back home. I'm like so pumped. I'm like, I started recording videos of all the choreographies I learned at convention and the classes, and posting, and I start following all the Loretta Bates, Cass Martin, Steve, all, you know, all the big instructors, and really becoming more familiar with the company and stuff, because there are a lot of people who are there Zumba instructors, but they don't know what a Zin volume is. They don't know what, you know, next rising present. They don't know anything. They don't even know that there's a convention. You know, there's a lot of people who they just have the license to teach at their gym. They like to dance, and that's it. They don't get involved in all of that other stuff.
I'm one of those people, but
that's how I was. That's how I was for 3 years, right? 16, 17, 18, for those 3 years, that's exactly who I was. I didn't know anything. I just had the license. I wanted to teach. I learned what it was from my local gym, and that was it. You know, I didn't know anything else or try to know anything else.
I'm very familiar with it. I've never gone to ZinCon, right? And I wanted to, but at the same time, I haven't wanted to, right? Because
you have to go.
it's on my, you know, but I have right now I have 2 classes that I kept, right? Because I'm all pretty jacked up, so I don't want to keep breaking my body down, but I didn't want to give up altogether. So I kept 2 classes. I kept Saturday at Kew, which was a coveted spot that I'd wanted forever, and I have a Wednesday at Retro. Those are the only 2 I teach now.
I see on your social
But I'm
media.
very familiar because I know a lot of you guys. You know, I know a lot of people from the, you know, the Zumba world. You know, I've been crushing on Loretta Bates for ages. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm very familiar with it. I've just not participated really in that side of it, except maybe like I've gone to your classes. I went to Ricardo. He did one of those big classes, and I had a lot of fun. I
Oh,
enjoyed
that's
that, you
nice. Is
know.
that the one
Yeah.
at a church, a school?
It was in Brooklyn, and
Yes.
Dinky was
Okay.
kind of
I
like
was
the
there too.
guy.
I was there.
I
Yes.
think I saw
And
you. I'm pretty sure I saw you.
And at that point, I was still, nobody knew who I was. I hadn't applied for Rising Presenter yet, none of that. So I was there at that front row, big fanatic. I love Ricardo. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I
awesome.
enjoyed him. I didn't get a picture with him because there was like so many people like fiending to get a picture with him, and I'm like, man, I'm a dude. We don't do that. I'm not gonna get in line for 30 minutes to get a picture with a dude. But to be honest, I kind of wanted to. I just, I was like, I can't do that, man. But
You
I
didn't
feel you.
you didn't get a picture in the end. No.
Honestly, I don't remember. I I'm thinking about it now, and I did go on stage with him, right? Diki brought me up there, and
I remember you went on stage. I remember.
dude, I was
I
so embarrassed. I had no idea of the choreo.
Me neither. I went on stage also, and I was
that was
super
so embarrassing. Like I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And he kept looking at him like, dude, you caught me off guard. I don't know what's going on. You
Yeah.
got to give me like a round at the choreo for me to catch it. You know what I'm saying? You got to give me a moment to, but they threw me
Practice
on.
it. At least see it once.
Like we go over it once, I got it. I can learn it. But now they caught me completely off guard, and it was the type of stuff that doesn't lend itself to my abilities.
Yeah, but it's okay. That's the beautiful thing about Zumba. That it's so. Do you think anybody remembers that, or anybody went home
Like,
and was like, "Angel
damn,
did
Angel
it"?
sucks.
Yeah, nobody did that because everybody was just there having a good time. Everybody had a good time, enjoyed themselves and stuff, and so nobody. That's why I love Zumba. Nobody. I don't even remember that. I remember you going on stage, and that's it. I don't remember anything about you messing up or not being able to follow well. So.
Apparently, I looked cool doing it, but I knew what was happening. you know, you know.
I love inviting the men up. I do that in all my master classes. I have like one song where I'll bring all the men up on stage. It's one of my favorite things to do. So
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
so right after convention, around I want to say what they usually do with the Rising Presenter competition is they hold it once a year at convention always. So they decided for some reason to do it differently that year and hold it at Zin Academy. You know what a Zin Academy is?
Mm-hmm.
Zin
Yep, yep.
Academy in New York. So for those of you who don't know what a Zin Academy is, it's like a mini Zumba convention, but it's in one day, and they'll do it in like different cities, here and there throughout the year. Like they just had one in the UK. They had one in Texas last year. So they were having one that year in New York, and they decided to hold a Rising Presenter there. I don't know why. And I actually didn't know about it. I was preparing myself to audition, sent to submit all of my videos and my submission, my application for convention. So in my head, I was like, I had already looked everything up, and the submission was opening on May. So it was February at the time, and
Like
I
3
had
more
already,
months. Yeah, like
yeah, I
three
was like,
months.
I still had time. So I
Mhm.
had a whole plan. I said, okay, 1 month before in April, I'm going to start preparing. I knew what I needed to do because I had already found you had to create 2 choreos, original choreos. The first choreo has to be from your B1 rhythms. So B1 rhythms are the rhythms you learn in your first basic one training when you go to get licensed, which are salsa, bachata, reggaeton, cumbia, merengue, those. So you had to choose one of those, create your own choreo, and then a second rhythm that's not a B1 choreo, like a soca or, an afro or belly dance, anything else, it could be anything else. So I said, I'm gonna start in April. So it was February. I was like, I still got time. I'm not gonna stress yet because I'm such a perfectionist. So I wanted to make sure I have enough time to, create the 2 choreos and practice them many, many times in my class so that when I was, because the way the submission, what you have to do is you have to record those 2 choreos in your class. So you have to set up the camera in the back of the room and literally teach the 2 songs in your class so they can see, you know, how you teach it.
Interaction and everything, right?
Exactly.
Hi.
My mom's over here.
Hi, Mom.
So
Oh,
here, come. She wants to say hi.
I want to see you.
Sure.
My mom.
I actually shaved and combed my hair for this.
Whole family is here. Nice listening to you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so
Likewise.
it's February and I'm like, I got time. And what happens? I wake up one day and Natalie calls me. She's like, did you get the email? Did you get the email? And I'm like, what email? And she's like, I just got an email for Rising Presenter in March. And I was like, what? What do you mean March? I was like, you must be reading wrong. Rising Presenter is at convention in August. She was like, no. She's like, I'm sending you this email right now. Go check your email. The Rising Presenter competition, they're doing one next month at Zin Academy in New York. And at that point, we were already registered for Zin Academy in New York.
Oh.
Like I had already paid because I was ready to go, and she had paid also. We had signed up. I think it was actually sold out at that point. So I checked my email and I'm like, holy crap, what's going on? Why are they doing it now and they're not doing it in August? And I checked, and why didn't I receive the email? I didn't get the email for some reason. It was like my other friend got it, and my other friend got it, and another instructor that I knew got it, and I didn't receive the email. I checked my junk, you know, it was nowhere. And I usually get all of Zumba's emails. So how weird, right? So I checked, like I was like checking all the details, and it was like last week to submit your application, next week.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, forget it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna be able to create 2 choreos in 1 week, teach everything in my classes, and for them to be comfortable, because I wanted my students to be comfortable with the choreo. That way, when the video was taken, the
Flows
student,
better.
yeah, exactly. Because then, you know, the judges would look at it and say, okay, her students are able to follow her well, and, you know, done deal.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that. So I was like to Nat, I called her back. I said to Natalie, I'm not doing it. I said, I want to do it good, and I'm not gonna be able to do it in the proper way that I want to do it, like this. She convinced me. She was like, you have to do it. Don't worry, I'm gonna help you. She's like, you have to do it, and there's no way you're not doing it. You're submit. She's like, even if you don't make it,
That's a good
just
friend.
yeah, she's like, just try to do it. So I decided to use 2 choreos that I had already created. Instead of creating brand new ones, I used 2 choreos and I just changed them a little and made them a little bit better. And I decided to use those. And what I did was, I don't know, do you know what progressions are in Zumba choreo? So again, for those of you who are watching, a progression is when you start teaching a song, you'll show it in the easiest form, the easiest way you can do the step. Maybe that means only the feet and no arms, or less, you know, lower intensity. You show it super easy as you can with your cues. And then as the song progresses, you can add your arms, you can add more energy, you can add more flavor in your style. Because if you do that from the beginning, the students are not going to be able to follow you well. So you really got to start easy and then progress. So they wanted to see progressions also in the song. That means that, you know, I would add a turn somewhere, or I would add my arm somewhere, or I would go lower in a squat, or bigger range of motion. So that's what I did. I took 2 choreos and I added progressions to them. And also, crazy thing, I had to teach everything facing my students, which means when you turn around, everything is flipped on the left leg. I had never taught in my life on my left leg.
I remember you were facing the mirror when you taught.
Constantly.
Yeah,
I
I remember
never
that.
taught in my life. I used to teach and look at myself.
I was, because I remember I was looking for your eyes and you were there focused, and I was like, You know, I'm one of the people that is a very a pet peeve of mine is people who don't face you.
Yeah.
That grr, you
I
know,
didn't
like
even know I had to do that though. I was
right.
like,
Well,
I don't
you were a kid. You were just starting and
exactly,
stuff, you know.
exactly. I
So
didn't know. I didn't
that's
have
one of
that.
the biggest things, like for
Yeah,
me,
it's super
and some
fun.
people do it, and they're good at it and stuff. I It just doesn't work for me. Like I can't have my back. I can't.
Making eye contact is just something different, and being able to make eye contact with your
Yeah.
students, and
It's a
it's
different
just
level of. Did you
a
feel
different
the
connection.
difference? Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now I will teach facing the mirror because sometimes it's confusing for new students. That's the
Mm.
only time I will really
You could
if I'm
transition too.
yes,
You're doing a move,
swap.
and all of a sudden, if we're going that way, I'll turn so that I'm going that way, and I'll
Yeah.
point. Depending on the. But then as soon as possible, I double back. To me, that's an art. To be able to do a
Oh,
move
heck
and
yes.
do this and then turn and
Go from
you
the
have to
left and
repeat
then
the
push it
same
to the
foot,
left.
right? You know what I mean? Because now you're flipped. That's an art,
Exactly.
and I do it
It's
just for fun. Some of my
it's not
friends know. They know, like they know what goes into it. So I'll be doing it and I'll look at them and they're like, and we're still
yeah.
going. It's an
It is
art.
not easy. It's not easy at all. So yeah, so I had to learn in 1 week how to teach on the
Flip it.
left.
Mm,
Yeah, and obviously I just learned those two songs only how to teach, because it's like you write with your right hand your whole life, and then one day you just have to start writing with your left. It's not easy,
yeah.
you know. So I had to learn how to dance with my left for those two songs. So I was able to do it, and I submitted. One other crazy thing was, in order to apply for Rising Presenter, you need to have B1, basic one training, B2, which is what they teach you in B2 are different rhythms. So I believe it's like Bhangra. I can't off the top of my head remember exactly the rhythms, but there are different rhythms in B2 that you learn about. Like you learn the history behind it and how to teach it and the core steps that you should use in your when creating choreos and stuff like that. So I had B1, I had B2. I needed pro skills. Do you know what pro skills is?
Yeah,
It's
that's another
it's another
course. Yeah.
training, it's another course that is for me one of the best courses that Zumba has. I absolutely love it, and I would take it 100 times if I could. And they really teach you, really how to guide and lead your students in a proper way, and the importance of cueing and how to interact, how to introduce yourself in the beginning of class, how to like really transmit and that your energy, during class, during a choreo.
Would you do
So
that now, even? Like, do you think it's worth to do it? Like, if you could
heck
do it
yes,
now?
I would
Yeah.
do it again. Every time I do it, I learn something else. Every time I do it, and I've taken it twice before. So I had to get that training
Within a
before.
week.
Yes. So I
Oh, wow.
drove 8 hours.
Wow.
I don't even remember what state it was in, but I drove 8 hours, and I drove in the middle of the
Mm.
night because the training was at 10 a.m. So I drove in the middle of the night and by myself, and Natalie stayed on the phone with me to make sure I was awake because I was falling asleep while I was driving. And I
Wow.
made it. I took the training and I went right back home right after. I was dead.
That must have been, yeah,
So
that must have been rough.
the day before, and before I had to submit everything, and then I submitted, and what happened? I submitted 5 minutes late because I needed to do one video also of me talking and introducing myself and saying why I believe I could be the next Rising Presenter finalist. So by the time I had like gotten everything together, and I submitted accidentally 5 minutes late. So I started texting Cass Martin and Steve Boot. They are the two people who are run the whole program. They create it and they run it. And I sent her a DM and I said, please, I submitted 5 minutes late because I got a bounce back email. And she was like, we're sorry, but it is too late to submit your application for Rising Presenter. We are no longer accepting, that must have been like an automatic email
Yeah.
from 11:59 p.m., you know? So I was so upset. I was so sad. And I sent her a DM and she never answered me. And I was like, I'm not gonna make it. And then like a few weeks
Damn,
later,
after all that,
I-
you know.
a few weeks later, I got an email and it was like, you made top 50. And I was like, I was in shock. So then it was top 50, then it was top 10. And then for top 5, she called me, she FaceTimed me. And I remember I just finished college. I just got back home. I was going to Baruch College at the time. And I was laying in my bed and I get a FaceTime from Utah. And because Cass Martin lives in Utah, but I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, who would
So,
expect a call from Utah? You
right,
know, like,
I declined it. And then
understandably.
I go in the call log and I see Martin. I was like, Cass Martin. And I was like, oh my God. So I called her back and she was like, you made top 5. And I was hysterical. I wish they had recorded it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy. So after that, they put us in a hotel near
So
the
all
academy.
this, the top 50, 30, 10, all this is done over video, or are you guys doing something in person? Your top 50, what happens?
Nothing. You just wait. It means we've narrowed it down to 50 people from thousands. Now we're gonna narrow it down to 10. Just know you made top 50.
So this is
That's
all
all.
happening in the background somewhere. Somebody's looking through and deciding. It's not
Yes,
like you're going and
no, I'm not doing anything. I already submitted my stuff. All I have to do is wait.
gotcha.
They're looking through all the videos and they narrow it down to 50 and then they go back and they look at all 50 videos again and then they narrow it down to 10 and
Right.
then they narrow it down to 5. So yeah, so then they put me up in a hotel near where Academy was in Brooklyn. It was at the Aviator Center and we had only one day before to meet and show them. We had to create was like I don't remember 7 or 8 minute mix with 4 to 5 songs, and we had to all original choreography and perform that, teach it at Zin Academy in front of everyone. So I created my mix. I contacted like a DJ and I had the mix made, and then I create all the choreo, and I used one of the songs that I did my submission with. I used one, not all of them. So we went to Academy the day before to rehearse. Cass and Steve met us there, and we had to show them one by one, all of us. We had to show them our set, and they would fix it and correct it and tell us what they think is good, for the students, and for what steps like are not, maybe they're too hard, or maybe we're cueing wrong way, or so there were a lot of things that they took my set and they turned it inside out, and I had only that night to relearn everything that they changed and perform it the next day. So I was up all night, relearning everything that had fixed, and they had made really good changes. Like with my cueing, a lot of the ways I was cueing were not good. They weren't like understandable, or they weren't the right way, or like sometimes like I don't remember who it was, but they were telling us how like when you want to tell someone, when you want to cue during a song and tell your students to stop, like don't go like this. Like this means stop, but what else can it mean? It's not cut your neck, so and we don't realize that, but some people might like it's better to just stop, or like stop or something like that, not cut it out, so they were correcting things like that, or like when you cue and you turn, point towards the direction that you're gonna turn in, and then I wasn't doing that. I was just going like this, turn, So how do the people know? Do I turn left or do I turn right? They don't know, and people would turn left and right. Now I know I point in that direction and I tell them to turn, and everybody goes the right way. So things like that they taught me. It was so helpful, so useful. I learned everything. The next day I performed, I presented. I did not win. Socrat won, but we were all winners. We're
Yeah,
all
right.
winners.
Top. You're all in the top. You're all there. And
And
I
from
mean,
there, that's when everything just took off, because at that point, Zumba knows you. They, they liked my work. I guess they wanted to work with me more. And from there, that's how everything happened. I really put myself out there, because you can be a rising presenter and just do nothing with it and nothing will happen for you. But I took what they gave me and I ran with it. I started creating more choreos. I started teaching more classes, doing more events. I started hosting people. I started creating a name for myself. I started recording videos. I worked on my social media. I had like 8,000 followers. I now have 280,000 on TikTok and 170,000 on Instagram. So I started recording. I invested in a camera. I took classes on how to edit videos on Photoshop, Adobe Premiere. So I did a lot of things to, really take advantage of what they gave me, of the opportunity that they gave me. So and because of that, that's where I am. That's why I am where I am. Because I took advantage
you
of it.
definitely ran with it. I mean, they started you with a fitness, right? Like a
Fitness variation.
fitness, right?
So
And then you moved on to like your own one-on-one, right? Like that's
So,
dope.
right, I did 101 first. So they called me for a fitness variation, and what that is like there are some, there is like there's a feature on Zumba that people who pay is extra $3 a month, and you get 2 choreos, every other month, so 6 times a year, 2 extra choreos, and they're more geared towards fitness, because there are a lot of instructors that like to do less dance, more fitness. And actually my students love that, here where I teach locally. So they hired me for that. I created 2 choreos, and they flew me to Orlando and I filmed them. I mean to Miami, sorry. They flew me to Miami and I filmed them. And it was great. It was fantastic. That was like my first big, after Rising Presenter, my first big thing, because I was doing like little social media things with them. Like they would ask me to record some videos and they would post it, or like some things like talking, but that was like my first like big thing, like
On the Zumba.com website. You can actually go and
on
see it.
set. I had also, before that, they had called me to do a video because I was already in Florida. They had called me to go on set and record a video to promote the curtains in volume. So if you follow Zumba, you'll see that when a new volume comes out, they post these videos on a very beautiful set of like different instructors dancing one song from the volume to promote the music, to promote the choreo. So they called me and I went and recorded one song. And that was the first thing I did on set. And then after was fitness variations. So, but it was different because fitness variations was like, it was my choreo. It was only me by myself. And it was big. I was super excited. I was so nervous. I get super nervous like when I'm put on the spot, but it's gotten a lot better now because I am having more experience, gaining more experience. I'm being exposed more to those types of situations. So I just learn how to relax myself, and everything's always turned out great. There's never been a time where something has gone wrong or bad, so I just, really breathe through it when I get nervous, because it's hard. There's 50
Dude,
people on
how many
set.
people were at Academy when you had to go and do what you had to
1,000
do?
people, 1,000 people.
Dude,
And I had
that's insane
I
for
went from teaching 30
anybody.
people. I went from teaching 30 people at New York Sports Club to teaching 1,000. It's a
You know,
big deal.
that's
I've never done that.
anybody will get nervous. When I go teach here in Kew Gardens, I have to go to the bathroom for half an hour because my stomach's nervous. You know what I'm saying? So, it's real, it's
Yeah. So I was super nervous for that fitness variations, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna just have the confidence to go there and film in front of everyone alone. And So, and I had never done something like that, you know. You have to be very like smiley, very energetic, very happy, because what you give to the camera only picks up like 50% of it. You have to give 50% more in order for it to, you know, to
You can't
really
fake it with
translate.
Zumba. That's what I always say. It's very hard to fake it. I could fake it in a strength class if I'm in a bad mood. I could fake it in a cardio
Right?
class, but I can't fake it in Zumba. If I'm not happy, if something's up, well, generally, if I'm in a bad mood and I go there, I get in a good mood after
Mhm.
teaching, you know.
Me too.
But
I always end in a good mood.
yeah,
I could start like in a bad mood. By the time I finish, I'm
yeah,
in a pretty great mood. So yeah, so then after that, they called me to do Zin 101, which was at convention. It was the first live volume they had filmed after pandemic. So that was a big key. And the reason that I hadn't been able to work with Zumba or really do anything with Zumba is because we got stuck. A week after Rising Presenter, everything shut down. So I couldn't do, Zumba wasn't doing anything at that
timing
point.
was crappy. Yeah.
The only thing they actually did hire me to do was a live stream on Zumba.com. I was hired to, because during that time they started doing live streams every week, you know, which was amazing to keep people, you know, educated and entertained. And they were doing sessions and classes online. So I was, you know, able to do one class online, live for everyone to see on Zumba.com. So that was really awesome too. But other than that, there was like nothing in person, nothing, you know, nothing really until Fitness Variations. And then Zin 101, which I shot at convention, and there were thousands of people there, and it was big because it was the first live Zin volume since the pandemic. So 2-3 years, you know, no live Zin volume. The Zin volumes were always two versions, right? You have the live version and the one-on-one.
Right.
Same songs, different choreos. That way Zin members have the option to choose whichever choreo they prefer. And whichever one they like better. Usually they film one on a live set with people, and the other one is always filmed indoors or just on a set with no people.
Right.
So they stopped doing that obviously during the pandemic. And the one-on-one was the first one that was with people again, so it was a really big deal. But there were multiple people in it. I was only chosen to do 2 songs because there were other presenters doing songs as well. It was great. It was even more nerve-wracking because there were like 5,000 people behind me.
I remember that when I saw it too.
It was
Yeah.
insane. So then I got one-on-one that was like, what being on a Zin volume was the biggest accomplishment of my life. If you told me like, what is your life goal? It was to be on a Zin volume, because it's a pretty big deal. Like for Zumba to trust you to create choreos and give those choreos to all instructors around the world in every single country to use in their classes, like that's a lot of trust, man, you know?
Yeah, it's
So
huge.
big
It's as
deal.
big as you can do in Zumba, really. I mean, there's Beto, right? And then presenters. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the hierarchy, right? And then, you know, the little sub levels until you get to the angels. You know what I mean? You know,
Like, you know, there's ZJs, there's Z's, and
yeah, but that's
I get
really
what you're saying. I don't want to call it a hierarchy, but
let me rephrase the language. The people we see are Beto and presenters.
yeah,
When we're looking at the new Zumba volume that's released, those are the people we see, right?
yeah.
That's how we know Steve. And you know, why do I know Steve? I have
But
no
they're
reason to
giving,
know him. I know him
what's
from the volumes, you
crazy is
know.
they're giving a lot of opportunities to like the newer generations, which is fantastic. The newer, you know, newer instructors or the young, you know, us, you know, like I never thought I would get a Zin volume, never, because
That's really
I
dope.
haven't been in the game for so long. So it was really big for me that they trusted me and, you know, chose me for that. And I was able to do it with Sokrat, who was my Sokrat's the person I did the volume with. He was the rising presenter that won in my year. We were like
Alumni.
in, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then after that, they called me for 103. I never in my life thought that was gonna happen because I just did 101. No, first of all, I just did 101, and I don't know. I didn't think that was gonna happen. So I remember when they called me, I was in my room, and that day that she called me was crazy. Listen to this. It was 1 year that my dog passed. The day she called me for the volume, I swear.
Wow.
Marked 1 year, and I woke up and I felt like crap. I'm telling you, no coincidences, no coincidences. And I'm in my bed. I didn't want to get up. I was so sad. I was so upset. I missed my dog so much. And Nancy calls me. Nancy she's the oversees all of the talent in Zumba. So she called me and she was like, hey, Giovanna, how are you? How's everything? Long time no talk. What's up? And I was like, I'm good. And she's like, why do you sound so down? And I was kind of crying before she called me, but I had to answer. So I was like, nothing, no worries. Just, today marks 1 year that my dog passed, and I'm just really sad and upset. She was like, wow. She's like, well, I'm so sorry, for what you're going through and your loss, but I'm about to make your day 1 million times better. I promise you this. And she was like, I am inviting you to be a part of Zin 103, the one-on-one version with Sokrat. And I was like, oh my God, I was in complete shock, literally. And I was like, yes, 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 of course. And that's it. From there, they sent us the music. We had to choreo. They send you the music, and then they choose the songs, and then you have to create all the choreographies. And we only had like 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks to create everything. So we had 12 or 13 songs, and I think only 9 or 10 actually came out, because sometimes they'll take out some after you film, because of music licenses. Sometimes they can't
Whatever.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, and that's it. Since then, a lot's changed, because once you do a volume, you're just more credible. It gives you more credibility, more more opportunities come. And now I have a tour planned in Europe in September. I'll be going to the UK, Poland, Israel, Dubai, Spain, a few countries. So to do classes there. And also I'm doing some classes in the US. I'm going to California. I have about 4 classes in California in July. I have in Texas and Oregon and Chicago planned so far. And
Gonna
just,
be all over the place. Now,
yeah.
these things is it through Zumba or on your own?
No. So they're not through Zumba at all. There are hosts throughout the world who they love Zumba, they love the Zumba community, and they love to bring these instructors from different parts of the world to their Zen community, so that their community can experience the instructor. And so there are hosts that do that. And they'll email me and say, hey, I would love to have you here. And of course I make sure they're a credible host, and that they've hosted and done events before. And yeah, I'll go teach a class, and it's really amazing.
Very cool.
To be able to
You're
do that.
living the Zumba dream.
I am. I guess you can say that. I'm really
Yeah.
lucky. I'm really lucky to be able to do what I do. And yeah, I'm super grateful. So super happy that this happened, because before all of this, my dream was to open a dance studio. I wanted to open a dance studio and have ballet, tap, jazz, all that. And now, especially after pandemic, I'm not, at least not right now, I wouldn't open a studio, because I'm traveling now. So I wouldn't be able to travel if I open a studio,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, in terms of Zumba, really, I mean, the biggest thing you can do, and you're doing it. So congratulations on that,
Also, I will have a class at convention, that's also huge. To be able to have a master class at convention, again, there are only really 20, 30 instructors in the world who have a class at convention, because Zumba convention is one of the biggest fitness conventions in the world. Thousands of people come from all over the world. So it's really big that I was selected to do a masterclass at convention. So for anyone watching this, if you are a Zin member and planning to come to the convention, I will be having a masterclass on Thursday, right after the kickoff session. So yeah, I'm super honored, super grateful to be able to do that as well.
Sweet. You know, if I go, I'll come to your class, but I'll hide
Heck
in
yes,
the back
Beto.
because you mentioned
I'm
you
gonna
bring the
put you
men up.
on stage. I'm gonna make sure you come on stage.
I'm gonna have a hat on. I'm gonna cover myself up so you can't
I'm gonna
tell.
find you. I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna bring you up there. But really, convention is like a game changer. Like even if you're not looking to do something crazy in Zumba, it just really inspires you when you go back home. It inspires you in different ways. It gets you excited for your own classes. That's why it's important. Like my first time at convention, nobody knew who I was or any of that. But when I got back, I was so excited and ready to teach my classes with all the new tools that I had to learn from convention, all the new choreos, new music, new styles, so new techniques. So I definitely recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't gone at all ever, so I think I will I definitely check it out. You know, I'd have to look up when the dates are and stuff. I don't know, you know. I was gonna go to the New York one and then somehow I ended up not going, you
Oh,
know. I don't remember what happened, but
maybe it was sold out, so maybe that's why.
yeah, it could have been because I would probably would put it off and then when I get to it, I'm like, oh, it's gone.
Mhm.
You know, you
Yeah,
know.
I can relate. Me too, last minute kind of person.
Yeah, so you know what?
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll do it later. I'll
that's
do
the
it later. I'll
story.
do it later.
That's the story. That's how I got where I am today, and still like working super hard every day, recording my videos and stuff, teaching my classes, really trying to create new content and bring new things to the community and stuff. So yep.
It's awesome. Well, I wish you continued success. I thank you
I
for
appreciate
joining
it.
me here.
Thank you for, I know we've been trying to do this for a while, but yeah, my DMs are,
You know,
thank
it
God.
occurred to me. I was like, you know, DMing her, I'm probably never gonna get through to her because it's
Thank
probably
God you
buried,
texted me.
you know.
It
And I
was
said, you
very
know what? Let me try to use the tool that the DM people don't have,
the
the
text, you have my
actual
number.
phone number.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
so
know,
with it's because of the Zin volume right now, everyone's doing the choreos and tagging us in it.
well, yeah,
So
no, you're gonna get, you know, you have hundreds of thousands of. I have 400 followers on TikTok, right? And when something I post gets traction and those messages start coming in, it's very hard to keep track of it. That's
mhm.
with 400, just the 400. Imagine thousands. You know, things will get
Yeah.
buried. You know, you'll never
But
see them. So I never, when I was younger, I used to get offended if people didn't respond to me. But now I understand that it's just buried.
I
You
try to
know,
respond
like
to everyone. I really do, but it's so hard. I'll be
it's
on my phone 24
exhausting.
hours a day.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
because
good. It's not good to sit there
no,
and
you have several 100,000 followers. It's very difficult to engage with every cop to even see them.
I really
You know,
try to. What I do is like every morning when I wake up, I take an hour and a half just to answer people. And then I put
well,
my phone down. I'm like, okay, no more. So I try to do that every morning. Yeah. So
well,
that's how
that's
I
awesome.
organize myself.
Oh, cool. Again, I thank you for doing this.
Thank you for
Um,
having me. Finally, we did
yes,
it. Say hello to
yes,
Christine and
yes.
Peppa. Where's
Yeah,
Peppa?
Peppa's in bed. Let me see if she's up.
Oh,
She's got a vet appointment coming up. Yeah, she's still napping. She's not gonna like it when I wake her up because she's got a vet appointment. I got to
okay.
take her. She's gonna get a shot. So,
Oh,
you know, poor baby's not gonna be happy, but you know.
definitely not. All righty, Angel. Thank you so
Eh.
much again for having me, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right, you too. Say bye to your mom for me.
Yeah.
You
I
take care.
will.
Bye
Say,
bye. Be
say hello
well.
to Christine. Send my love, my kisses to Christine. All right.
Will do.
Bye-bye. See
Thanks
you.
again. Bye.
You are listening to the NYC Talking podcast. www.nyctalking.com. Please like NYC Talking on Facebook. please follow Angel R Talk on Twitter and Instagram. We are NYC Talking, the realest lifestyle blog ever. Thanks for listening.